The national Ukrainian interest must be taken into account. We are not making loud statements. We will continue to work calmly with America and with all our partners. There will be a constructive search for solutions. With our main partner, I will put forward arguments, I will persuade, offer alternatives, but we will certainly not give the enemy grounds to say that it is Ukraine that does not want peace, that it is Ukraine that is disrupting the process, or that Ukraine is not ready for diplomacy. This will not happen. Ukraine will work swiftly. Today, on Saturday and Sunday, throughout the whole of next week and for as long as necessary, in a 24/7 regime, I will fight to ensure that among all the points of the plan not fewer than 2 are preserved. These are the dignity and the freedom of Ukrainians, because everything else is based on this: our sovereignty, our independence, our land, our people, and the Ukrainian future. We will do and must do everything to ensure that the result is the end of the war and not the end of Ukraine, not the end of Europe or global peace. I have just spoken with Europeans. We are relying on our European friends, who fully understand that Russia is not somewhere far away, that it is next to the borders of the EU, that Ukraine is now the only shield separating comfortable European life from Putin's plans. And we remember, Europe has stood with us. These days, consultations will be held with partners on the steps needed to end the war. I signed a decree on the composition of the Ukrainian delegation. I approved all the relevant directives. Our representatives know how to defend Ukraine's national interests and what exactly is needed to prevent Russia from carrying out a third invasion. Another blow to Ukraine, just as crimes against our people and against other nations were repeated in the past. Also, we are now talking about much more than just certain clauses of a particular document. We need to make sure that the principle that crimes against people and humanity, against states and nations, can be rewarded and forgiven does not prevail anywhere in Europe or the world. Real peace is always based on guaranteed security and justice. We have hardly discussed this publicly, only in very general terms. But it is no secret. President Trump's peace plan for resolving the situation in Ukraine was discussed prior to the meeting in Alaska. During these preliminary discussions, the American side asked us to make certain compromises and to show, as they put it, flexibility. The main point and purpose of the meeting in Alaska was that during the talks in Anchorage, we confirmed that, despite certain difficult issues and complications on our part, we nevertheless agree with these proposals and are ready to show the flexibility offered to us. We have informed all our friends and partners in the Global South, including the People's Republic of China, India, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, South Africa, Brazil, and many other countries and CSTO countries of course in detail about all these issues. All of our friends and partners, I want to emphasize this, every single one of them, supported these possible agreements. However, we see that after the talks in Alaska, there has been a certain pause on the American side. We know that this is due to Ukraine's de facto rejection of the peace settlement plan proposed by President Trump. I believe that this is precisely why a new version of it has appeared, essentially, a modernized plan consisting of 28 points. We have this text. We received it through our existing channels of communication with the U.S. administration. I believe that it too could form the basis for a final peaceful settlement. But this text has not been discussed with us substantively. I can guess why. I believe the reason is the same. The U.S. administration has so far failed to secure the agreement of the Ukrainian side. Ukraine is against it. Apparently, Ukraine and its European allies are still under the illusion that they can inflict a strategic defeat on Russia on the battlefield. I think this position is based not so much on a low level of competence, I will not discuss this aspect of the matter now, but most likely, on a lack of objective information about the real situation on the battlefield. Apparently, neither Ukraine nor Europe understands where this may ultimately lead. I can give you the most recent example, Kupiansk. Quite recently, as we remember, on November 4th, 2 weeks ago, it was publicly stated in Kyiv that there were no more than 60 Russian servicemen in this city, and that within the next few days, as was said, this city would be completely unblocked by Ukrainian troops. But I want to inform you that by that moment, on November 4th, the city of Kupiansk was almost entirely in the hands of the Russian armed forces. Our guys were, so to speak, just finishing up and clearing out individual neighborhoods and streets. The fate of the city had already been sealed at that point. What does this tell us? Either the leaders in Kyiv do not have objective information about the situation on the front line, or they have it but are simply unable to assess it objectively. If Kyiv does not want to discuss President Trump's proposal and refuses to do so, then both they and the European warmongers must understand that the events that took place in Kupiansk will inevitably be repeated in other key areas of the front. Perhaps not as quickly as we would like, but it will inevitably happen again. Overall, this suits us, as it leads to the achievement of the goals of the SMO, Special Military Operation, by armed means and in the course of armed struggle. But, as I have said many times before, we are ready for peace talks and for resolving issues peacefully. However, this requires a substantive discussion of all the details of the proposed plan. We are ready for this.
Is your final offer to Ukraine?
No, not my.
Sir, do you still plan? Sir, do you still plan?
I would like to get the peace. It should have happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened. If I were president, it never would have happened. We're trying to get it ended. One way or the other, we have to get it ended. So then he can continue. Then he can continue to fight his little heart out.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.